In a world overrun by zombies, all that matters to the survivors is finding food and weapons to stay alive. While everyone else struggles, our hero already has everything he needs. Shi Yang knew the end was near, so he got ready before it happened. He built a fortress, piled up supplies, and gathered his friends to live in comfort while the world fell apart around them. But he'd have run out of supplies fast if that system giving him tasks hadn't saved him. By doing this, he gets loot boxes filled with precious rewards, resources, and buffs that make him even stronger. It all began, as it always does, with a betrayal. Our hero clings to a single thread above a hungry horde of zombies waiting to feast on him inside an empty warehouse. Zhang Xiaoyong's terrible girlfriend calls him out and gloats about having already killed all his friends. Poor Xiong stares into the past, seeing how his own blunders took his friends' lives, and in his rage he screams at the woman, vowing a terrible end for her. But of course, that empty threat from where he stands means nothing to the girl who clings to her sugar daddy and whines about her heart being broken. So the Fatso leader decides it's time to watch Xiong tortured to death, and even thanks our boy for leaving his supplies behind to keep them fed for months. And well, our hero meets his end as he tumbles into the zombie cage. The freak shows jump on him at once, ripping his flesh while he lies helpless and writhes in agony. As Shi Yang screams, "Shake the sky," he makes a final promise with burning fury that if Truck Cohen gives him another life, he will spend it all hunting down and destroying both Jing and Lu Xian. It seems the gods heard his wish, so in the very next scene, Bro wakes up as his past self. Standing before him is Ka Jing, flexing her dump truck to make amends, but as the self-serving gold digger she is, she yells at our boy for forgetting to add her name to his property. Xiao Yong pays her annoying talk no mind, and instead looks around, suddenly realizing he's been thrown back to the moment right before the world ended. A heavy weight of guilt presses on him as he remembers the painful betrayal by Ka Jing, a fake grad who stole his family's inheritance and wealth, making him think a zombie apocalypse will be less painful than this walking disaster. Just like in a normal zombie movie, people suddenly got sick with a virus and started hunting each other down. Thanks to Shi Yang's great friends and connections, he built a safe haven for survivors that stayed peaceful until an apologist arrived, pretending to be lost and weak enough to trick our hero into letting her in, which became the biggest mistake he ever made. By trying to be a hero, he lost everything as she quickly slipped in with her own group. You only need to see the same woman standing just a few feet away and screaming at him hand over his money to know how unbearable she is. Our boy is glaring at her with such hate that he wants to strangle her, but he knows there's no point in rushing things right now. But he eventually shoves her out of the room because she simply won't stop talking. The door slams right into Ka Jing's confused face, and it feels great to see the same guy she thought was her slave suddenly kick her out without a second thought. Back at his apartment, Xiao Yang checks the calendar and realizes he has just a month to prepare before the end of the world finally crashes down on him. A strange pop-up suddenly appears, turning on the apocalypse system and giving him a mission to claim a plot of land and stock up on a year's worth of food, a task that feels like a modern version of Genghis Khan's conquests. With a sweet reward of 10 points, he can trade for special items at a shop. You can tell how happy Shi Yang is to find his new system, which helps him survive the apocalypse. Walking into the store, I found only 3 things left to buy: a potion to boost our power, a kit to help us survive, and a special box for the main character that caught my eye, and each one could be traded away for a different number of points. Xiao Yong is finally seeing life improve, even though he remembers how desperate he once was, starving himself to save every penny for a girl who eventually betrayed him. So he grabs his phone to order food before the zombies steal it all. That very night, the camera jumps to him enjoying his pricey takeout with a personal flair. Bro is so desperate to taste some real pork that the very first bite gives him godlike power and turns his body into a shredded masterpiece. He can't help but devour the delicious food like a Victorian kid who hasn't eaten in days. Suddenly, he realizes his phone is blaring loudly. Xiaoyang checks the call and sees it from Wenshuya, the best friend of Ka Jing. True to her toxic best friend ways, she starts yelling at him on the phone because he told her to leave his girlfriend alone. The chick is such a pain that he finally hangs up on her. Instead, he is determined to get a piece of land where he can build a strong, easy-to-defend fortress right next to the forest and water. The next day, our boy heads to a real estate office to chat with a consultant about buying or renting a home. Before he could reply, their talk is cut short by Shang's boss, the company's sales manager Jay, who orders her to stop at the front and handle only the lowest-level tasks. He roughly pushes her out of the way and orders her to work in the back, even though she was ready to help the client just fine. Manager Jay, a snobbish boss who mocks Shi Yang as broke, only to have the brave young man snap back and shut him down. Instead of saying sorry, The manager just doubles down on his point, claiming that folks like Xiao Yang can't even afford a toilet and aren't worth taking seriously. Xiao Yang hates this guy's guts and vows to crush his confidence with his next move. Bro pulls out a shiny American Express card and shouts that he's ready to buy some land. The news that he's here to buy land sends everyone into a startled roar of shock, only to quickly realize they've just struck gold. The consultant, Xiao Ning, kindly invites him to join so she can share everything in detail. Manager Zhu is losing his patience, convinced the kid is just bluffing with no money to show for it. Next, Xing hands over a list of lands for him to buy. But our boy isn't here just to look at a list. Instead, he wants to say exactly what he needs so they can get it for him. First, he wants a spot near the mountains with fresh flowing water, good roads to get around, and a big factory or house built right there. Xiying looks at her choices while keeping his exact needs in mind. Manager Jay wants to suggest the unfinished project in the East District just to embarrass our boy, but Xiying refuses because the plan is too messy with all those incomplete factories. But this arrogant kid doesn't care, convinced Xiaoyang sets impossible demands just because he knows a customer like him never plans to buy anything. To that, our boy asks if the East District plot truly fits his needs, and Shouting nods in agreement, while warning him about the unfinished factories and the project leader walking away. Xiying quickly sees that he might actually have a chance, especially with his plot's easy-to-defend barbed wire and the bonus of unfinished factories nearby. Right away, he agrees to buy the plot and sign the contract, leaving the polite consultant shocked that a customer is ready to take on a place full of wandering, unfinished factories, while Xiao Yang just wants to get the papers done so he can shove a contract right into the manager's mouth. In the next scene, Manager Jay hilariously screams at the bill, baffled that anyone would waste millions on a plot of rundown factories. The best part is when Xia Yang shows up to remind him about the deal, so the manager has to swallow a fresh load of crap since he bought the plot. As Xiao Yang walks away, the other customers mock the manager, record his reaction, and cheer for his next move, eager to take the challenge themselves. So let's return to our boy. Remembering his two main tasks from the Apocalypse system, he's already completed one by spending his bride money to buy land, and his next worry is to stockpile a year's worth of supplies. As Xu Zhang walks away, he spots the man and can't help but wonder why he's here. Fudgy the Whale looks at the silly mess right in front of him. People are holding Manager Jade down on his knees while forcing him to eat on camera, which is a punishment even worse than dying. The ugly sight vanishes and gives way to a seductive view of Kajing, showing off her curvy body. Suddenly, the woman gets a call from Shuang, who hurriedly tells her that Xiao Yong went to the real estate office. And yes, that really fires her up because her main question is how on earth he managed to buy land, and with what money. So, Shush Zhang reports the exact deposit details and says this man probably spent his bride's money on it. Quang is furious that her hard-earned money is being spent on his personal stuff, so Big Mac tells her to just ask the guy directly, but I'll skip her nagging rant because nobody wants to hear that. Our boy is deep in thought about his next big idea, but a huge problem looms. He needs a lot of money to buy supplies and build his base. His quiet thinking is instantly ruined by a loud banging on the door, and while he fears the FBI found his secrets, it's actually just two of the most annoying women on Earth who are furious that Xiao Yang spent Kajing's money. The guy's totally lost and can't figure out what's happening. Kajing doesn't even let him finish speaking before she accuses him of spending her money to buy land, and then declares that he owns nothing but the land she claims as her own. You could see that Xiao Yang just thought her accusations were completely silly. First, he slaps her shoulder with a pile of cash, reminds her he'll never let her spend a single cent, and even drops that secret knowledge about Xu Zhang and Kajing dating to leave her completely stunned. The worst bestie of the year steps in to play innocent and blame a couple's fight on a misunderstanding. But our boy isn't buying it and immediately calls her out for trying to use her sugar daddy against him. He slammed the door in her face and told her to get lost. But instead of feeling guilty, Kajing is only bothered that he found out about their secret, which proves she's such a mess that she doesn't even care about the big mistake she just made. Her best friend is just as shocked and can't believe they hid this secret from her, while also being grossed out that it was with the old jerk Xu Xiang. She knows they can't fight Xiaoyang anymore, so they'll have to come up with a new plan later, and earlier I called this woman the worst best friend of the year, because you're about to find out why. You see, she's a snake biding her time to strike while the two of them fight, hoping to sneak in and steal Xiang for herself. But let's put those villains aside and focus on Xiyang, who visited the unfinished factory only to hear from the crew leader that it needs major renovations and better defenses, meaning it'll take quite a while to finish. Laughing at how many defense systems they're building, a construction worker jokes, "Are you going to fight God?" While their boss refuses to listen and insists the project be done in just 1 month, even though the captain warns that no amount of resources can make that impossible. But in a funny twist, that very same captain tells him the kid will have to pay even more to finish the job in just 1 month. Since the project is in a rush, they need at least 20 million to get the job done. Our boy doesn't even flinch at the cost, just smiles and checks to see if they really mean it, while the leader adds that Xiao Yong must also pay 5 million up front to get things going. Our boy is totally on board with the plan and says he'll get the money transferred in a week if they start right away, leaving the captain speechless and wondering if Xiao Yong is the Chinese version of Elon Musk. And our boy promises that if he ever skips a payment or causes trouble, he'll just put the property in their name to stop the damage. And that deal is officially a go. Just as they talk, Kiji Jing's friend jumps in, grabs his arm like an old buddy, and asks what he's doing. Our boy is furious that the woman who helped steal his family's fortune in his past life is now here. So while he plans to handle her later, he just needs to figure out how she ended up in this world. The girl shakes her head, playfully asks if that's the plan he's been working on, and wonders if he's building a whole villa on top of it. Xiang shakes off his nice act, breaks free, and snaps that it's none of her business. This only makes her angrier because she can't believe he's being so rude while her heart races with love for him. Shi Yang turns his attention back to the project and orders the crew to make room for the gate. Feeling ignored, she frowns at her chance to snatch the land from our boy while his relationship crumbles, and honestly, it looks like he's attracting the worst kind of women. Back at his apartment, Xiao Yong uses his home as collateral for funds, but it still isn't enough to pay the initial fee, so his main worry is just getting a huge pile of cash, even considering selling his house repeatedly to different people since an apocalypse is coming anyway, and no one will sue him in a zombie court. His quiet moment is ruined when an irritating old man pounds on the door, screaming for Xiang to open it immediately. It seems Grandpa Li, who lives next door and is loaded with cash, already owns the top 2 floors and is now eyeing Xiang's spot too. Since the house turned out not to be a perfect wedding spot and Grandpa Li keeps yelling at him, our boy finally gives in and agrees to sell it after arguing about clubbing. The brightening geyser's mood as he's shocked to hear those words from the kid. Xiaoyang points out that there's a catch to it. With his new home still 6 months away, he'll need to take a 5 million upfront payment from a buyer to clear his own mortgage, a clever trick he could repeat with other buyers again and again. Shi Yang was ready to slam the door on him if he said no. But at the last second, the old geyser cracked and agreed to the deal, yet he made sure a contract was written so neither side would face any trouble later. Our boy didn't mind signing the contract since he knew the geyser would eventually die and leave the house to him. And with $8 million ready to go, 5 million from Grandpa Li and 3 million of his own, he was finally set. Now that he's finished his first task, he can claim his mission reward. Next up, our boy is power speeding through the grocery stores with a shopping trolley that's been upgraded to its ultimate form. Even the people around him are starting to wonder if the kid is crazy, especially when they see Shi Yang's 7 carts piled high with stuff. People think he was scared the world was ending, so someone tricked him into buying all that stuff. Xie Yong ignores the fools and finishes the second task. He carefully weighs where to spend his points, deciding that grabbing the Protagonist toolbox is a smarter move than just boosting his own stats. He didn't even hesitate. He picked it and spent every single point he had. The result is a glowing mystery box that opens to reveal a powerful space ring for storing his items in a static dimension. In the end, our hero is thrilled to finally hold that legendary item in his hands. He never has to fear his food spoiling while he's inside the static dimension. If you thought getting a year's worth of supplies was the hardest part, the system just upped the ante and now demands 10 years of them to earn more points. Once the store manager spots the trouble, security rushes in to handle anyone causing a scene. Yong Tao is stunned to see Xiaoyang there, especially since the former bully from their school days used to torment weak kids like our hero, who simply refused to follow orders, making their past clashes rough enough that now this guy is angrily demanding Xiaoyang return stolen supplies instead of causing a scene. Our boy flashed a fearless grin and pointed out that Yong Tao hasn't changed a bit, still acting like the Captain Douchebag he always was. He promises to complete his purchase, but the security manager thinks Xiaoyang is just messing around and demands he pay right now or face serious trouble. After a whole hour, four receptionists finally finished checking out every last item. This all adds up to almost 57,000 yuan. Before we could blink, Yong Tao shoved the card into the machine and forced us to check out immediately. Xiaoliang acts like he just pulled off a legendary trick and swipes the card with total confidence. The manager is stunned when the transfer actually goes through, completely breaking Yong Tao's expectations. Humiliated, he drags his men away, but our hero isn't finished and yells out one last order. Xiao Yong feels unfairly treated for buying something and says he wants a real apology right now, or he is walking out with his stuff. Hearing this makes Yong Tao's blood boil, since he thinks the kid is pushing him too far and just looking for trouble. Nowadays, cameras are everywhere so people can be caught on video, which is why the other shoppers have cornered the rude security manager, demanding he apologize right now or risk becoming a famous TikTok sensation for his stubbornness. Xiaoyang is doing just fine, and he tells his old classmate that saying sorry won't hurt a thing. In fact, that little nudge might just make him buy 10 times more, and while Young Tao thinks that's way too much, our boy stays calm and decides to show him the real balance again to prove him wrong. As Young Tao stares in shock at the 7 million in the account, Xiaoyang shoves the embarrassed man toward him to force an apology. The bully gives up, drops his head, and says sorry for how he acted. To make him even more embarrassed, our boy pats his head and tells him not to be rude for no reason. As Young Tao curiously asks what he bought all that stuff for, Xiang shuts him down coldly, saying it's none of his business and that he's got something big planned. The manager, feeling humble, says he needs to find a wholesaler to handle such big orders. This catches our boy's attention, making him turn to ask if Yang Tao knows any wholesalers, and the guy confirms it by reminding him of their old leader, Zhang Sheng, who now works in that business. Yang Tao even calls to speak with Xiaoyang about a major client, and Xiaoyang is shocked to find that this rude man still works for the same boss after graduation, making him wonder how much money they've earned together in business. A short while later, Yang Tao leads him to his boss's home. A car slams on its brakes, stopping just inches from the two of them. The arrogant bastard who thinks he rules the world, Zhang Sheng, steps out of the car. He wants to meet with the so-called big client right away. So Yang Tao steps in to jog his memory by pointing out that Xiaoyang used to be his classmate back in school. But since so much time has gone by, that tough guy has forgotten everything. As he stares closely at our boy's face, he suddenly figures out who Xiaoyang really is. It was the kid who always stood up to his group and refused to follow their orders. He tries to make our boy's drip look fake, but it's no help when Xiaoyang pretends not to even know the brand's name. Seeing Zhang Sheng's reaction, he realized all his time here was wasted because this kid wasn't worth the trouble. He gives Yang Tao's but a literal kick while claiming he can tell just how wealthy someone is just by looking at them. Xiaoyang mocks his boss by joking that the boss's power is so weak he can't even scare a fool. Angry, Zhang Sheng yanks the man by his clothes. But our boy won't back down and keeps repeating himself, while Zhang Sheng just gets mad about the insult and can't even read. He didn't mind that Xiaoyang had mocked him for acting like he was better than everyone else. Anyway, Yang Tao tries to break up the fight, but ends up getting kicked again just for stepping in. The furious boss thinks Xiaoyang made a huge mistake by not buying a huge amount of goods, convinced that if he doesn't buy them all, Xiaoyang will never return in one piece, and honestly, getting back in one piece really is the goal. Xiaoyang stands firm and shows him his small bank account. The boss is shocked to see the kid instantly ready to spend $1 million, then jump straight to $5 million, with the first $1 million just serving as a deposit to get things rolling. Zhang Sheng, curious about what the kid wants, asks for details, and the boy replies that he wants every single edible or drinkable thing included. Even with a giant client standing right there, the greedy boss thinks he can easily trick our boy by handing him nearly expired food, treating the whole thing like a lucky lottery ticket. Inside the warehouse, Zhang Sheng points out the goods and offers a 10% discount if he buys it all. But our boy cares only about quality, so he inspects a bag of peanut sand and immediately shows the boss how much of it is about to expire, proving his greed. Chong Shinji was totally surprised Xiaoyang knew so much about this trade, so he offered to cut the price in half if Xiaoyang took the whole pile. However, our boy quickly rejects the offer, insisting that spending $5 million means the goods must be the very best. But he isn't just talking. His plan is to take all the expired goods, paying for them over the course of a month, to turn a discount offer into a winning deal. Zhang Shenji is scared the goods will go bad and backs out. So Xiang offers to mortgage his house, and the boss is amazed that Xiaoyang can buy expired stuff without any trouble. Our boy isn't scared of his choices. Instead, he drops a hint for the boss, and in just a few days, even rotting food will seem like a luxury, sending shivers down Zhang Sheng's spine, while Xiaoliang refuses to explain his usual tricks, seals the deal, and promises to send the delivery address later. Our boy picks up the phone to find an interested buyer calling about his house. He ties everything up with the warehouse and lets them handle it all. As he walks away, Yong Tao starts to doubt if they're actually the ones getting spammed, since even the boss is baffled by how a kid who looks so normal is just burning through millions with zero care. In the next scene, the interested buyer actually makes a deposit of $400,000 for our boy's house. He also accepts the contractual condition that Xiang will leave the house in 3 months. I think you guys can understand what he's doing here, right? He doesn't care about the consequences because the world will be plunged into chaos anyway. Xia is shocked when the old man seals the deal without even checking the house. So he asks why, and the man explains he's rushing to find a new home for his granddaughter who is moving to a different school. The terrifying sight makes Shurao Yong wonder if he should raise the price now that he knows just how desperate they are, causing the poor guy to shrink back in fear. Xiong promises he won't do a thing like that, even if the price stays the same. With a quick sign, the contract is done and the deal is locked in. The old man thanks the boy for his kindness and promises never to bother him again. But this is a terrible blow to our hero, who can't stand the thought that innocent folks like this old man and his granddaughter might die in the brutal apocalypse. He decides to show one final act of kindness by stopping the old man and asking for their current address. Next, Xiaoyong heads back to the construction site to check on his plot. The captain is happy the first payment arrived, but is eager for the second. So our boy promises the money will be there soon and asks how the building is coming along. Judging by everything you can see, 80% of the work is done, with strong doors and walls up for safety, a warehouse that looks great, and a place that's already been cleaned up. Once Xiyang feels safe, she waves Zhang Shinch off to hand over all the goods right away. Soon, the supplies arrived and were carefully stacked into neat piles, with the generous Xiong paying each worker 2,000 just for the effort, while our hero quietly helps sort them to keep the perishable goods safe and fresh. By evening, the sorting is all done. Xiaoyong looks closely at his masterpiece. After waiting a long time, he finally filled his stockpiles with 10 years of supplies and earned 20 points to boot. He checks the system store again and finds a new box waiting in the list, a perfect gift that gives him superpowers before the zombie apocalypse even starts. For 10 points, he buys a mystery box that gives him the Mind's Eye, a gift that spots danger so he can trust others in this broken world. And now his new mission is to arm himself like John Wick, exactly what Shi Yang wanted. That very night, we stepped into the dark underbelly of society and dug into the black market. Xiaoyong pushed his way through the busy crowd, listening to people chatting excitedly about old treasures. All the meanest villains are gathered here, including Big Mac Attack, who is currently haggling with a shopkeeper over a ridiculous price for a bracelet. Watching him buy fake bracelets at the market only convinces our boy that Fatso is a swindler, while Kajing can't even tell her own jewelry is fake. Xiong keeps looking around until he finds something that really grabs his attention. He finds a shop owner selling sharp weapons, and Shurao Yong is eager to buy the best ones. The shop owner suggests grabbing a knife sharpener or a stiff baton if you want something durable without the bite. Shurao Yong insists that even a baton isn't hard enough, claiming that only a Dwayne Johnson bald head is tougher. The shop owner figured his customer was just messing around and had no real interest in buying anything. To his total shock, that same boy suddenly moved 200,000 into his account and said he really wanted to buy it. The seller, feeling curious, asks Xiao Xiong to guard the stall while he steps away to talk with someone privately. In his storage room, the man showed off a pile of cheap homemade guns for only 2,000 yuan, but Xiaoyong flatly refused them because they couldn't kill a real zombie, let alone a chicken in this apocalypse. The seller then draws his eye to a replica revolver that costs about 5,000 yuan. Once again, the kid remains unimpressed by the staggering 200,000 advance payment. The shop owner is stunned when told about the advance, realizing Xiong isn't just bringing 200 grand, but is ready to spend 2 million on weapons for the job. His wild offer leaves the seller wondering about the man's strange life, and with a dramatic flourish, the speaker declares he's about to become the John Wick of the zombie apocalypse before shouting for the seller to just get over with. So he decides to bring out the best stuff, make sure his house is locked up tight, and checks that no one is watching. He also tells Xiaoyong he's in the right spot and can connect him with a supplier to get high-quality weapons for their deal, which will officially happen in just a couple of days. As Shurao Yong steps out of the storage house, he bumps into Fudgy Pudgy again, who finally realizes why Shurao Yong has been living so comfortably and wrongly guesses that the boy must have sold a lot of his stuff on the black market to get rich. Little does he realize that Xiaoliang isn't interested in his taunts at all. He just wants to use this fool to try out his brand new power. Closing his eyes to see clearly, he checks the honest seller's good intentions, but the big man standing right in front of him looks nothing like a friend. Xia snaps back by saying that just as Xu Zhang took in Kajing to make up for the fake bracelets, someone is going to need icing on that burn. It only takes a single comment to make Xu Zhang's temper flare. The seller wonders if they know each other, but our boy insists on treating him like an enemy, so the seller, now a good friend, promises to beat the old fart up for messing with them. Xiaoyong walks away happy while Xu Zhang is about to cry. He watches ruthless men with batons charge at him, shove him to the ground, and keep kicking him until his body is covered in marks. This incident just makes his hatred for Xiaoyong burn hotter, and he vows to get his revenge someday. 2 days passed, and our boy got a truckload of fancy weapons plus a special bonus potion that doubled his stats, making it even better than anything he could buy at the store. He wastes no time, loads the injection, and chucks it straight into his body. Seconds later, he realizes he has broken past the average man's strength of 5 points, now standing at 7 and feeling a powerful surge in his physical might. Next, he heads to the store and finds nothing but a survival kit and a potion to boost his strength. After choosing to boost his strength, he grabs the physical enhancement potion and injects himself with it once more. By the end, our boy had racked up 8 physical points, which made him 60% stronger than the average man. To prove he could do it, he glanced around and snatched up a tough stick. Shiyang kicked the ball so hard it bent and cracked the nearest wall, proving that with this much strength, he's about to start taking out zombies with his mighty hands. Next, he packs all his weapons into a special ring that instantly pulls their crates into a hidden dimension. With only 2 days left before the world ends, Xiaoyang realizes he must finish everything up, and that thought brings the old man he met right back to his mind. Even though others betrayed him during the apocalypse, Xiaoyang remains a good soul at heart who always wants to help those in need. That's why he plans to drop off a pile of supplies to help them survive, but from now on, everyone has to look after themselves. Next, Xiaoyang walks up to the old man's home. It was hard to find a spot because the place looked so run down and lost. As he climbs the stairs, our boy realizes the old man must be going through a really bad time. As he knocks on the door, he quickly grabs his supplies first to avoid the trouble ahead. As the magic ring conjures food supplies right outside, he knocks on the door, only to find the old man rushing out in worry and shock upon seeing Xiaoyang at his doorstep. And that's not all. He's even brought a huge pile of stuff with him. Our boy says he can't stop to explain, so they'd better move the stuff inside right now. In the next scene, the crates are all loaded up, and the old man is blown away by how much energy Shiyang has. Our boy looks around and decides that the old man's place is locked up tight. He warns the old man to keep his secret safe, while Xiaoyang urges them to use their supplies wisely, for a big change is coming to the world. Suddenly, he looks at a photo of the old geyser's stunning granddaughter. To his utter shock, the stranger was Shan, one of the friends he'd made when the world ended. To be sure it was really her, he asked her grandfather, who was stunned that Xiaoyang knew her name when they never even mentioned it. Worried, Shiyang instantly checks where she is and finds out she's back home studying and moving schools. In the original timeline, he found her still haunted by the regret that her grandfather died, saving her life. So as her friend, Xiang refuses to let that same tragic ending happen again. First, he tells her grandfather he can't move into his house, which sends the old man into a panic. But Xiaoyang calms him by explaining that a zombie apocalypse will start tomorrow, making every place unsafe, so he needs to pick up his daughter from school to decide where to hide. A lot to take in at once for the confused old man. Unfortunately, Shiyang has no choice but to help his friend, even though he doesn't fully understand what's happening. He says their once peaceful world is now facing a famine where going hungry is the only rule. Xiaoyang proves his point by pulling every piece of furniture and crate right back into his ring. Shinshan's grandfather is speechless until our boy reveals his special gift of seeing the future, proving they must rush to Shinshan school to stay safe. Next, they zoomed inside the car and raced toward the school. As soon as they get here, Xiaoyang rushes to ask where her dorm is while the two of them hurry to find her. It turns out Shan is getting slapped by a jealous woman because some random guy has a crush on her. Even though Shan tries hard to say she has nothing to do with him, people still think she's just making excuses. The cruel villains torment Shan for acting so cool around her crush. Luckily, Shan's grandpa rushes over to find her. The old man, who can't help himself, pleads with the woman to let him go. To get rid of them, a group of crazy high schoolers show up and threaten the old man for getting involved. For the sake of his granddaughter, the old man charges in blindly to face the 3 men. A mean-spirited bad guy is about to smash his head with a baseball bat. Before the punch lands, Shiyang snatches the attacker's arm and mocks him for acting like a tough gangster when they're really just kids. The fools try to make fun of him, but Xiaoyang shuts them down by kicking the first one so hard his hair turns white. A single kick sent him crashing to the floor, leaving the other 2 fools wondering if they were facing a real pro. They foolishly rush to surround him, thinking it matters, but our hero just laughs and welcomes their effort. The guy with the club tries to hit him from his blind spot, but Shiyang dodges so easily that the attack completely misses. Since he pumped up his strength, his reflexes have completely leveled up, letting him react in a flash. He grabs the guy by the collar, slams him into the ground to knock him out instantly, and then sneaks up on the group's leader to stab him. Bad luck for him, as Shiyang twists his fist around for the perfect angle and rains a brutal kick down just below his thigh. Just remember that getting hit hard by a real-life pro will drop you with pain you can't even imagine. Well, thanks to Xiaoyang, those foolish people finally managed to get some sleep. Next, he steps up to the girl who had been messing with Shan. She is slapped in the face as a reminder that he supports feminism and wants equal rights. The girl spins for a minute, filled with wonder. Bro then grabs the other person and demonstrates just how it feels to get your hair pulled. He pressed a sharp blade right against her neck, watching as fear made tears spring into her eyes. Then, suddenly, a sharp swing strikes her and she screams in pain. At first, it looks like Bro just killed someone for the first time, and even Shan-chan's reaction makes it seem like he really took a life. But no, he just gave her a quick trim, and suddenly she's stuck with a messy fade exactly like the time you asked for a little off the top, and ended up looking like a fresh start anyway. She screams at him and vows never to forgive him for what he did, but our boy doesn't care in the least, and acts like she got lucky because he took the weight off for her. He jokes that she'll understand what he means in a few days, but for now, he tells Shan-chan it's time to go. She doesn't know where he's going, but she keeps right on behind him. Next, they're off driving toward their new spot. Grandpa explains to her that a terrible famine apocalypse is coming. Shan-chan feels her grandpa is tricking himself into taking another scam call, but he insists it's real, and our boy finds their sweet moments together hilarious and heartwarming. Xiaoyang shows his secret message, proving he is the one who told her grandpa everything. The lost boy introduces himself properly to the girl, who thanks him for fighting the bullies, though he doesn't worry about them since they won't survive long anyway, while she remains confused about the strange fate awaiting her world. Xiaoyang gently tells the girl it's just a famine, so her grandpa can understand, giving her a sliver of hope, but Bro instantly crushes that hope by calling it an apocalypse instead, then reminds her that the news says things are already going south. Shan quickly checks her phone and sees a bunch of videos about a rabies infection that makes people go crazy and attack others. As her fear swells with every new video she watches and she sees the terrifying state of the infected, Xi-Yang is forced to realize that the apocalypse is finally here. Shan finds out that tomorrow the terrible smog will spread across many provinces. This deadly smog will forever change living things, turning many people into hungry zombies who will start eating anyone not yet affected. The moment they fall, the living turn into the dead, and their army grows bigger. He's glad Shan at least knows what zombies look like, even though the crazy situation makes no sense to her yet, but he's sure she'll get used to it soon when the whole world goes chaotic in a week. For now, they just have to deal with the mess of traffic. Shirao Yong was shocked to see that even the emergency lane was blocked off. The streets are clogged with cars, and Shan is terrified that zombies will find them, but Xiang tries to calm her down by saying it's not that bad yet since the end of the world hasn't started. Even though the big end of the world is supposed to come later, there's still a very real chance a small outbreak could happen here right now. Just when things get scary, a driver tries to force his way through the lanes, slams right into our boy's car, and our boy gets so mad he hits back. He tries to keep the invader out of the emergency lane. The guy jumps out of his car and starts yelling curses at Xi-Yang. Seeing that they've run into a rude, wealthy guy in a Mercedes, Shan-chan's grandpa suggests they just walk away. But our hero isn't about to back down and threatens to take the guy out if he bothers them. Then, after a long hour, the traffic finally clears and everything is fixed. Shan warns our boy to be careful of the same driver from before, who is quickly speeding up to cut through. Even Xiaoyang can't believe how stubborn this guy is. He darts forward just to make fun of them. Even Shan's grandpa says this is too dangerous and they shouldn't act like him. But Xiang doesn't care anymore because the apocalypse will save him from all their bad deeds anyway. He crashes straight into the guy's car, sending it spinning around before it smashes into the side. The spoiled kid steps out of the car and instantly yells at the cops to haul Xiaoyang away. He's the kind of guy who never lets someone get away with hurting him. Next, our heroes return to the very place Xi-Yang has been busy with. Even Shinnen's grandpa is stunned that they're going to live here forever. He tells them that their lives are about to change forever starting tomorrow, so they'd better get some rest now. The next day, our boy relaxes in the sun and spots Shan arriving, finally well-rested after weeks of exhausting classes. Xiao Yong beams with pride as he gives her a tour of the fortress he built. As he walks her around, he tells her the walls are made of solid concrete, and that the remote-controlled gate is so tough that no one could ever cut through it. He sets a single rule: no one may enter the fortress without his permission. This worries Shan, who fears that Xi-Yang won't save the survivors once they finally make it all the way here. To ease her fears, he leads her to another place and shows her how people change completely when the world ends. Because the dark side of humanity is real, they must tread carefully, for kindness itself can cost them their lives if they're not watching out. To protect any survivors, he set up a safe haven for them to use while he's gone. And once more, Xi-Yang warns them to keep the main fortress locked and no one allowed inside. Once that was settled, he led them to the food storage room and explained how they would be handling the food from now on. As he walked through the warehouse, he turned to them for one last look before they left. He opens his special sight to see what they really mean to do. He feels relieved to see that both of them trust him, knowing he has found good people to rely on. Next, Shurao Yong pulls out some weapons, showing that they're the only way they can survive. Grandpa grabs a shotgun, but Shan pulls out her own deadly crossbow. All they have to do is stop these weapons from getting into the wrong hands. And now that it's been a while since we checked the systems, Shi Ying's next job is to track down his old friend Jiang Qi from the original timeline, but the real worry is just figuring out where he is. But don't worry, the system will show you exactly where his friend lives. He tells Shan and her grandpa to stay put and follow his rules before he goes. Then he sets off to find a new ally and bring them into his fortress squad so they can get ready before the world ends. The camera whips around to show a TV studio called the KTV. A group of friends are chilling here, singing their hearts out. They take a bathroom break to cool down, where Zhang Chai stumbles into a pretty girl and apologizes for the trouble he just caused. Her boyfriend doesn't care about their excuses and kicks him out. Jiang Qi was blasted backward. Struck down to the ground, his friend rushes over to see if he is okay. Nerd Eyes takes a bold stand against the tough guy who punched his friend, making the attacker even angrier as he grabs and taunts the victim, while Jiang Qi begs for mercy to save his pal from harm. As the chaos unfolds, a cold waiter steps in to break up the fight. The pretentious guy who tries too hard to look wealthy snaps at the waiter and yells at the two kids to run away. Jin Shi and his friend sprint away while they still have a chance. They retreat to their karaoke room, safe and sound after escaping that messy mess. Even the other guys are stunned to see them running like that. Captain Glasses explains how they ran into some thugs, got their asses handed to them, and were lucky to be saved by the waiter. Hearing this, the other two guys get angry and decide to rush back and beat up the guy for messing with their crew. Jinshi tries to calm him down by saying it's pointless to seek trouble, but things are about to get much worse since the waiter has been brutally beaten and 3 more thugs have arrived to attack Jangi's group. The thug yells at his men to grab them right now. With no chance to fight back or cause trouble, Jangi and the nerdy-eyed onlookers quickly drop their gaze. Only one guy is brave enough to challenge the group, but when he tries to speak, the thug leader smashes a bottle over his head. Chun Chong, who isn't even a racist name, walks away with a bloody head, and our boy pulls his car to a stop just outside the bar. With Jiang Qi arriving, just as expected, and Chun Chong knocked out from blood on the floor, someone has to rush this guy to the hospital right now. The thug boss chases his girl's approval, and since she wants to beat up the person who bumped into her, they turn their sights on Jiang Qi, who is about to get his ass handed to him. Chun Chong suddenly jumped up to smash the thug leader's face, but another guy had to stop him just in time. The thug leader is shocked to see a college kid acting so bold and smashes another bottle on his head, making me start to feel sorry for him. Chun Chong kisses the ground one more time, and his friends cry out in worry. Jiang Qi gets so angry seeing him fall that he leaps into action, but they are soon held back. The last person of their group is shaking like a scared puppy sitting on the sidelines. While the other thugs beat up Jiang Qi's group, the waiter is fighting hard to stay on his feet. But his punch misses, so he fails to knock one of them down. The waiter suddenly goes berserk, his eyes bloodshot as he charges into the fight like a wild beast. He bites into one of the men's shoulder, chewing on him and leaving everyone else in horror. The thugs have no clue what's happening, especially since that waiter just snapped and went crazy. They rush to hold him back, but his huge strength overpowers them all. Actually, the zombie waiter turns around to snap his teeth into the other man's arm. He turns into a wild beast, crushing the thug and slamming him to the ground. To everyone's shock, a wild, unstoppable beast is easily taken down by a random guy, our boy, who shoves his face right into the screen and orders everyone else to stop. The thugs are shocked to see that while they were getting crushed by the waiter, a kid is now easily pinning one of them to the wall. The thug leader asks Xiaoyang who she is, but she says nothing while checking on Jangi to see if he has any bite marks. Luckily, he's okay, but Jiang Qi has no clue why people are asking him such a strange question. Our boy urges him to hurry and follow him because they're late, but the thug leader blocks their path just as one of his own men starts getting a bad headache from a bite he took. Right away, our boy realizes the infection is spreading fast and he's about to change. Xiaoyang asks if the same rabid waiter bit off his shoulder. The lackey nods and knows it's true, but he still can't figure out how the pieces fit together. Our boy realizes the man was already infected, and since he got bitten near his head, it's all over for him. Xiaoyang drags the zombie waiter, hurls him into the bathroom, and bangs the door shut. The wild beast keeps smashing the door, but since the zombies aren't smart enough to open it, he turns his focus back to the thugs. Our kid gets ready for a serious fight by asking Jiang Qi who he should take down first. The funniest part is that Zhangqi has no idea who he is and can't figure out what's happening. Furious at the kid's nerve, the tough leader lunges to punch him down, but Xiaoyong grabs his face and slams his head into the ground. The infected henchman charges in to attack, but Xiaoyong knocks him down with one sharp punch to the face, leaving his friend confused since a simple hit shouldn't be that powerful, while Xiaoyong's body twists in pain as he invites them to smoke, knowing they'll only learn not to mess with him after catching these hands. Turning to Zhangqi, he was told to head to the private room with his friends and wait outside. The guy gives up without a struggle and just helps his friend get out of the room. Once the thugs see they can't win and decide to run, Xiaoyong isn't the kind of guy to let them walk away free after what they've done. He blames the drunk thug for nearly killing his brother and shoves him inside, slamming the locked door shut so the thug leader can't get out. The fate of this poor man is gruesome, as his own lackey has turned into a zombie and lunges forward to find its next victim. By the end, Shiyang finally hears the victims screaming as they are eaten alive. A staff member steps in to check things out, and Xiaoyong tells him to lock the door tight and call the police about the dangerous patient with the rabbit infection. The staff member is caught off guard until our boy yells for him to finish the job, and soon he slams the key in to lock it tight. Next, our boy guides Jungi's friends to the door, while the worried staff outside listen to the strange noise and try to figure out what's happening inside. They got news that a sick person with the flu is inside, but nobody is completely sure if they are truly dangerous. Upon hearing about the flu, they immediately race to check the live cameras. But when they step into the surveillance room, their faces twist into looks of pure disgust and horror. All of them turned into man-eating monsters that tore each other apart until the staff called the police right away. Luckily, our boy and his friends have escaped the dangerous karaoke bar, and he helps them scramble into the car before speeding away. Even though Zhangqi is thankful for the stranger's help, he still has no idea who this mysterious man is. Xiaoyong calmly introduces himself as a protector hired by a secret client to keep them safe. One person asks if the flu patient from the raid even exists since the internet says she doesn't, and Xiaoyong reminds everyone of what they saw in the room, wondering if that was just another conspiracy theory. Nerd Eyes worriedly asks about a cure for the flu, but he soon learns there isn't one, and the world is about to spiral into chaos. As I said, the zombies have already started attacking the people. The infection is racing like a wildfire, but right now it's only burning in one small place. Most of the infected are sleeping inside, waiting to wake up and make things even more chaotic, which is why Zhangqi and his friends must follow his orders exactly. They all shout in agreement to follow him right as he gets a message saying his mission is over. With this, he unlocks new store items, including helpful supplies and a mysterious post-apocalyptic box that lingers, so he decides to redeem all 3 promising boxes at the fortress. But on top of all that, he still needs to find a way to earn some trust. In the original timeline, Zhangqi's friends were killed by zombies because one of them, who was secretly hiding among the 3, turned on them. Soon, we'll be playing a game of Among Us to figure out who it is. It's been a while, so let's go see how Kajing is doing. She is so scared to go into the supermarket because of the news that she wants someone to bring all her food right to her door. To her absolute horror, she hears someone violently knocking at her door, so Qing, unsure what to do, quickly hangs up the call with Shuzang. She peeks over the edge and feels a wave of relief wash over her. Only her best friend scared her by bursting in and whispering that the police had forcefully taken their first-floor neighbor away in an ambulance. It turns out he caught the sickness too, which explains why their building is falling apart. She asked Kajing about the supplies Big Mac Attack had promised, but they still haven't arrived. Changing her strategy, she chooses to feed lies into Shuang's ego, convincing him to tell the fattas that Shirao Yong is carrying a huge stash of supplies. Kajing can't fathom how her best friend knows her secrets, but it turns out one of her spies has been watching him and found out that he keeps ordering huge supplies. Kajing is shocked her ex knew about the apocalypse coming, so her beast companion pushes her to tell Shu Xiang everything so they can steal supplies from Xiaoyong and get rich, even though these heartless girls don't care about doing the right thing. When Zhang Qi returns to his amazing fortress, he is shocked by what he finds. He can't fathom anyone actually building a real fortress for themselves. Shirao Yang beams with delight as he says that everyone naturally feels this way. Shanhen and her grandpa are so happy to see him back home. He reassures everyone that everything is fine and then introduces them to his new friends, Zhang Qi and his group, giving them a chance to shine just as much as him. From this point forward, these new friends join the group, and he also brings out Shan and her grandpa to meet everyone. They're delighted to welcome everyone, as long as Shirao Yang picks them, and he even tells his grandpa to give the newcomers a tour and explain all the rules. One of the group asks for weapons to stay safe, But since that person is already on Shi Yang's suspect list, and he knows there's a secret spy in Zhangyi's group, things are getting tense. Nerd Eyes tells Ying to chill out and stop being so reckless, because asking for weapons before you've earned anyone's trust is a dangerous game. Shirao Yong says he'll bring weapons in a few days, but right now, they must take care of the wounded Chun Chong and help him get strong again. Once inside the fortress, they all washed up and put on fresh new outfits. Ying is secretly annoyed that his friend's meddling cost him a chance to grab weapons back then. This guy believes they are trapped prisoners inside the facility rather than being safe, but Nerd Eyes reminds him that Shirao Yong saved their lives, so they can't really call it captivity. They wonder about his past since all they know is that a mysterious client hired him to watch over them. While Ying is grumpy for no reason and angry that they aren't treating Chun Chong because of infection fears, and the kid hilariously thinks Xiaoyong's group is secretly trying to steal their organs, so they have to take action to stop it. Nerd Eyes warns that if they're wrong, they'll be stabbing him in the back, but Ying is so obsessed with his plan that he doesn't care, already drunk on power and desperate to take the fortress. While Xiao Yong is gone, he plans to take apart both the young girl and the old geyser, leaving Zhang Qi and his friends staring at him in stunned disbelief as they finally realize he's a total freak show. Ying quickly jokes to ease the tension, but Four Eyes warns him that if Shirao Yong truly wanted their organs, he wouldn't have left them wandering around. Little do they know that Yiming is a slimy schemer who plans to seize the fortress on his own, convinced that cruelty is the only way to win. In the next scene, Shirao Yong meets with Shan and her grandpa, who tell him that Chun Chong is resting in the infirmary and that everything has been locked up tight for safety as ordered. Feeling grateful, our hero thanks them, suggests they all get some rest since big problems are coming tomorrow, and warns them to be careful of Zhangyi's other two friends because he suspects one of them might betray them. That night, our boy makes his way to the warehouse where food is stored. Here, he takes another look at his system store. First, he opens the cultivator box, then buys the supplies for sugar, oil, and protein, and finally takes charge of the armed deterrence box. By buying everything at once, he walks away with a bounty of 50 corn seeds, plenty of other food, and a huge stash of 1,500 bullets to keep him safe. With this massive pile of incredibly valuable rewards, he'll gain a massive edge that will carry him through the coming apocalypse. The next day, trouble finds our boy once more. Remember those wealthy folks who promised revenge on our hero? Well, they've arrived with their friends to tear the place apart, and he commands his henchmen to smash the gate wide open. But it's honestly pathetic to watch, because even after trying their hardest, they can't even scratch the heavy gate. The boss is so furious, he can't believe the door is so honest. They pull out their sharpest tools, hurling Molotovs inside until the room quickly bursts into a chaotic fire. As Molotov cocktails rain down inside, Shan and the group rush to smother the flames. Seeing this mess, she feels even more certain that Shi Yang was right when he said things would only get crazier from here on out. Our boy never backs down, and that man brought a rifle to take out anyone who stood in his way. He walks up to the watchtower to see who the attackers really are. Shan's grandpa spots the wealthy villain from the highway first, and his men see them too from the watchtower. The snob shouts at them, ordering Xiong to step outside or he will burn the whole place down. Xiong keeps his cool and warns them that they've got about 5 minutes to get out. His disgusting reply makes the men even angrier, and they threaten to fill 2 crates with Molotovs to burn the fortress down. Suddenly, the system gives our boy another mission. Grandpa is confused and suggests firing a warning shot, because the main goal is to stop the enemies attacking the fortress. Our boy knows that a warning shot won't stop bad guys who are hurting people, so he aims his gun and decides he can't let them keep threatening lives. Saying so, Xiong shoots and tears a man's arm apart, sending him to the ground screaming in agony. Shirao Yong meant to shoot the guy right in the head, but since it's been a while since he last held a gun, his aim is a little off. Anyway, just taking off the guy's arm is enough to end the fight, and the two of them sprint away like frightened kids, even though they were the ones who wanted a battle. Shi Yang knows dragging this out won't help, and he's certain those guys will just knock on his door tomorrow. So, he fires at all of them without any mercy. The few who made it to the car rushed to help their boss inside, and as they did, he screamed at his driver to floor it, because let me tell you, this guy is John Wick, and he's finally acting like a hero who isn't stupid. Even though they tried hard to get away in the car, Xiaoyong blasted them out of the sky with his automatic rifle. The way he handles the gun with such skill makes the old geyser wonder about the kid's past. Well, it's a miserable end for those bad guys since their car is wrecked, and they're all dead, having walked right up to the Grim Reaper, who finally finished the job. Next, Xiaoyong asks Shan's grandpa to send the rest of the group to clean up the mess. But then, an idea suddenly seized his mind. Since the world is already ending, He decides to stop cleaning up and let the dead men stay put so they can rot there and become zombie training dummies later. What our boy doesn't realize is that Shuang, Kajing, and her best friend are all heading his way right now. Kajing is secretly irritated because her friend is acting all flirty right in front of the guy with the big belly. Finally, they made it to the spot they had been looking for. Kajing almost convinces her best friend to come along, but then she gets scared and suddenly doesn't want to go. She has to lead the way as their guide, or they'll never find Xiaoyang's factory. Kajing pulls her out by force, refusing to listen to her whining as she drags her outside. The two girls walk toward the spot as Shuang waves his team in to get ready for the big moment. Once he gets the signal, he'll fire up the car and his team will pile in to start the operation. The evil bestie asks why she had to be dragged along. Kajing warns her that they share the same nature, so she doubts her friend's words when that friend admits she acts this way just to trick Xiaoyang. To their shock, they found a pile of dead bodies on the ground, and it was clear as day that a shootout had just happened. Both of them are frozen with fear, thinking it's smart to run, only to realize too late that the party was there trying to steal Xiang's supplies. They barely care if Shi Yang is dead as long as his supplies are safe, so after debating whether to return and use Xu Jiang, Ko insists they just move forward and sneak inside. The girls reach the massive, tightly shut main gate and realize they can't get in, which makes them worry if Xiao Yong really made it through. From high up in the tower, Shan Shan speaks to them and asks what they really want. They both act like they know our boy, pretending to be his friends. Shan Shan rushes to tell Shi Yang, which only makes Kajing angrier since she thinks he's found a new girlfriend, but her friend snaps that they can't let their feelings show when they're surrounded by armed men. Kajing knows Shuang, Ankh can handle anything with their own guns, and once they get past the door, everything else will be easy. Xiao Yong walked over to check things out for himself and wondered just what Kajing and Wen Shuya were doing here. He immediately uses his special sight to check what they really want. These guys are pretending to be nice, but he smells their bad intentions right through their fake worried faces and laughs at their bad jokes, while openly telling them that the fattest Shuang and his lackeys are hiding nearby. Both of these hoes stare at Pikachu with wide-eyed surprise, clueless about how on earth he managed to figure it out. He shows no mercy and immediately fires a warning shot. Qing and Wen Shuya can't believe he's actually going to do something so extreme. The evil bestie keeps her cool and tells Kajing to stay calm since they're up against someone with a gun. But our hero knows killing them all right now would be too simple. And then suddenly, one of the dead men stirs into a zombie while the rest follow suit, turning from the very virus they saw on the news. This is the perfect moment for our hero to finally make the two enemies suffer a terrible end at the hands of the hungry zombies. Kajing and Wen Shuya sprint for their lives, trying to shake the hunting machines as they stumble back to Shuang, who has no clue what's happening. Then, a horde of zombies rushes toward them, and the two women are so scared they start begging the fatso to save them. Xu Jiang never thought she would find sick people so far away from home. This sudden shift in plans leaves the two women behind as he warns his men to pull back without even looking back at them. Kajing is so furious she's practically shaking with rage, and her plotting backfires when she throws her purse at her best friend, causing Wu-Ah to trip and fall right onto the ground. With no place to run and no way to fight back, the hungry zombies tear her apart and feast on her flesh. As she is being torn apart, and Shuya curses Kajing, swearing that she will meet an ugly death when her time finally comes. She breaks free and runs away, convinced she made the right choice. As the horror unfolds, Xi Yang earns system points by wiping out another danger, while Shan Shan watches in sheer terror. He also gets a new mission to hunt down and kill the zombies still hanging around the base. Shan stares in shock, unable to believe that the sickness is so powerful it brings the dead back to life. And just like that, the apocalypse has officially started, with Xiaoyang warning that mutants will overrun the world and the dead will rise as zombies. Knowing his team needs new info, he calls an urgent meeting right away. Next, they all sit down to talk about their next move. Xiaoyang tells everyone to stay alert, seal everything tight, and let their bodies get used to the sickness so they won't risk suddenly changing in a scary way. Even then, Jiang Qi can't stop worrying about his hurt friend. Chen Chong still lies in the infirmary, but the infection is slowly taking over his body. The city is burning, chaos is raging outside, and the whole world is falling apart. We turn to Yung Shurna, who tells his family to stay inside while he heads to the warehouse to grab their supplies, and he makes sure they never let anyone in. But things aren't going well for them because someone is already pounding on the door. He shushes his family, grips a golf club, and marches to the door, ready to take out any infected person who shows up. He sees it's just Yong Tao and relaxes his vigilance. That ends up being his ultimate mistake because Yong Tao has brought his friends to completely crush his boss. They slam him to the ground while he tries to force them to let him go. Even though the boss treated Yong Tao with kindness for years, his own lackey ended up betraying him in the end. Yong Tao snaps at his old boss, reminding him that he was treated like a discarded pet rather than a friend, while Zhang Shanji adds that he even chipped in money for Yong Tao's house down payment. Yong Tao throws aside his thanks for the kind gesture, acting like it's no big deal because his boss is rich enough to buy a dozen houses, but he's really just here to grab the warehouse keys and steal the supplies. When the boss refuses to back down, this scoundrel turns against his own family. Yong Tao grabs his wife by the hair, and the little boy lets out a loud roar because she is being hurt. That poor kid just can't do much more. Yong Tao doesn't hesitate to hit the kid hard with a heavy slap. Zhang Shanji bellows in fury at him for hurting his helpless wife and child. Even though Yong Tao is the wicked son of a terrible man, he promises to stay safe and help them as long as he works with them. As they drag him back to the warehouse and unlock the door, Yong Tao is crushed to see it nearly empty, but the boss reminds him that their big client, Shi Yang, just bought everything, even the expired food, leaving them with almost nothing in stock. Hearing the name Xiong suddenly strikes Yong Tao with an idea. If they can just grab those supplies from our boy, they'll easily have a decade's worth of rations. Even the boss thinks that's a bad move, knowing from his past run-in with Shi Yang that he's not someone to be pushed around, and suspecting Xiaoliang likely learned about the apocalypse way before it started and got ready. Yong Tao refuses to do the dirty work himself, and instead forces his former boss to take the fall. Zhang Shenji only realizes how clueless he's been once the enemy decides to put his family in danger, because if he doesn't save Shi Yang's supplies, those enemies will just turn their anger on his wife and child. It's a pretty gloomy moment for this guy. Back at the fortress, Zhang Yi's friend is in serious trouble. He has gone wild, acting like a beast with no sense at all. The group watched in heartbreak as their friend was left looking so sad and broken. In the end, Yiming proposes they get rid of him. Once again, Xiaoyong's words make him suspicious. Zhang Yi can't believe the words coming out of Yiming's mouth. This guy is serious because he knows letting an infected person who is already dead stay alive is pointless, and if he ever breaks free, he'll put the rest of them in danger. So even though his words hurt, they are true. Xiaoyong admits there's no cure for death, so our boy hands a blade to Yiming just to see how he'll react, and the startled guy quickly catches on to the test. Xie Yang asks him to put his infected friend down. Yiming's body shivers as he stares at the blade while our boy taunts him, reminding him that he asked for a weapon, and now it's time to pick it up and say goodbye to his friend. Zhang Qi cuts in and snatches the blade right from their hands. He knows the heavy burden he's taking on, but he steps up to take the job anyway. Our boy rushes to warn him that doing this job will make him a killer. It's not a small risk, but Zhang Qi trusts Shioi's words and is ready to take on the job. Watching his confidence, he gives Zhang Qi the green light to act. In the very next scene, he loads the blade and is seconds away from slashing his face. Just as things were about to happen, Xiang suddenly stepped in and stopped him at the very last moment. They had agreed on everything, but then he suddenly changed his mind. It turns out Chun Chong is special, and that's why Xiaoyang isn't ready to end his life just yet, because he still has some use for him. It turned out the system had warned him about a rare mutation in his case. Now all by himself in the room, our boy looks over to see how he's doing. Chun Chong is a wild, untamed beast right now, but Xiaoyang has no fear, so the man steps right up close to his face and reminds him that there is one final job left to finish. The next day, a car smashes right into a pole. It turns out the boss has terrible luck today and can't drive, but since he's almost at the fortress, he can walk the short distance, though things get messy when an ugly zombie attacks him. The boss gets bitten on his arm, shoves the crazy monster down, runs back to his car, grabs a metal pipe, and smashes the sonic rings right out of the zombie's head. He doesn't stop smashing the zombie's head into a blood-soaked mess until others are catching up to him. So even though he's hurt and moving slowly, he keeps pushing toward the fortress. Speaking of that, our guys have locked and loaded their crew, each armed with weapons to wipe out the zombies hanging around the base. Shan is having a hard time with the protective gear that covers her most important parts. Even though it hurts to wear, she knows she has to. Xi Ying notes that zombies are famous for their explosive power, which can be too much for them when they lack experience, but he's okay with them letting go of it later on. Outside the base, the team has locked their sights on a single zombie to make it their main target. Xi Yang tells his team to get ready for the strike, since they're close enough to hit. Suddenly, the zombie spots them and lunges, so Shirao Yong quickly reminds his team to stick to their plan, watch each other's backs, and keep their distance. He sidesteps the zombie's deadly charge to show that hitting the soft spot at the base of their necks, just like fighting titans, is the only way to win. Surprisingly, Fori finds the courage to smash his weapon right into the zombie's face. Instead of slashing with his blade, he only hurts himself, I was mocking him as he lost all his power in that moment, proving Xiaoyong right that hitting the skull is a wasted move that lets the zombie strike back and forces him to block with his sword. The beast lunges for a bite, just as the trembling man begs for help. Xiaoyong was definitely impressed by how well he defended himself. Next up is Jiang Qi, who leaps straight for the monster's neck to strike its weak spot and open it up for the team to finish it off by hitting it over and over, proving that landing many blows is the key to a successful kill. Jiang Yi turns around to check on them, but our hero tells them to figure it out for themselves, only for a zombie to suddenly rush in from behind, forcing Jiang Qi to scream a warning. The mindless beast lunges to bite his shoulder, but Qi doesn't flinch. He spins around, clamps a hand over the creature's head, and uses the moment to remind them all to keep their eyes open. The others are left speechless by how fast he moves and how sharp his mind is. Let's head over and check in with the boss. The boss stands outside the fortress, full of regret as he sees many vehicles stop there and worries that Xiaoyong might have already been killed, until he suddenly hears a group of people talking nearby. He hears Xiang's voice and creeps closer to see what's happening. He watches from behind a car, shocked to see Xiang and his team mowing down zombies with almost no trouble. Without realizing it, this unlucky guy is about to die a very strange way when Shia's zombie corpse crawls out from under the car and grabs his leg. She makes him stumble and fall. The boss is totally helpless and holds his breath as the zombie rushes in to eat him. Just as she was about to kill him, her head exploded into pieces. Xiaoyong arrived right in the nick of time to save his life. The boss shoves the headless body aside while our boy wonders how he ended up there, but before the boss can explain, Xiaoyang spots the infected bite mark. He raises the gun above his head, declaring he's already lost, while the boss pleads for just a moment to speak before he shoots. And even though Xia listens, he won't let that man get anywhere near him. Filled with grief, the boss realizes his time is up and races against the clock to stop becoming a zombie. Yet his greatest fear is that his family will suffer the same terrible fate. He explains that Yong Tao is terrorizing and holding them hostage, demanding Xiaoyi supplies to save them. Even though Yung Shanjie has messed up a lot before, he's never done anything half as bad as Yang Ta is doing right now. No matter what happens, his family is innocent, but he knows Yong Tao won't let them live, so he begs Liang to show mercy and save them. Our hero is torn because he knows Jiang Shenhe is selfish, yet that same man just helped bring the supplies. Even though his team is built well, there are far more men than women on it. Xiang believed that these IP moves could happen given that. After the system gives him a new mission to guard the boss's family and rewards him with 25 points, he is already on a second job to kill all the undead monsters outside his base. Anyway, Xiaoyang steps up to take care of the boss's family. As soon as he hears those words, Jiang Shenhe, who is about to be infected, drops to the floor in gratitude for what he just did. Now that the time has come, the boss knows his infection is coming soon and refuses to die as a normal human. So Yang tells Shan to get a bike from the storage room. She doesn't understand why, but goes to grab it anyway. Our boy tells the boss to get away from the crowd to a safe spot where no one can touch him before he gets sick, and even though he won't say why this plan works best, the boss says thank you again and agrees. Next, we watch Jiang Shang zoom away on his bike. As he slowly changes into an infected, his very last thoughts are about his family. Now that he's gone, Xiang turns his attention to the pile of dead zombies they've all killed. After dousing their lifeless bodies with gasoline and watching them burn to ash, he knows the team has finally finished their real training. Xiaoyang and their friends can easily beat up lone stragglers when they stick together, but they'll still get crushed by a big crowd or a whole wave of zombies until they have time to learn new tricks. Xiaoyang orders his team to follow him into another of his secret storage rooms. Our boy stays behind to guard the weapon room with the old geyser since he's off to the city. Shan's grandpa is worried because his grandson is heading toward a ruined city, which makes no sense at all. Jiang Qi and Four Eyes step up to join the mission, but our hero turns them down, warning that the danger is too great for them right now, so he decides to stay behind and guard the fortress until they're ready. Once everything was decided, just a few moments later, he was already in his car with his weapons ready for the hunt. For the very first time in ages, the shop is totally empty, and even getting a fresh drink takes longer than usual. This time, he chooses to spend his points to refresh everything. As he acts, a fresh pile of strange boxes appears, including a life-saving black tech box and a dangerous armed threat box. But since the price doubles every time he refreshes them manually, he must be very careful how he uses the feature. Xiaoyong still believes it's a smart move to spend all his points on those shiny new crates. For now, he buys just the black tech supply box, which leaves him with 6 points remaining. He cracks the box open to find a strength potion that boosts his power by 5 points. The jump this time is even bigger than last time. Xiaoyang drinks the potion to gain godlike strength, but his body gives out under the power, leaving him stronger than anyone has ever been. Our boy is actually on his way to the boss's house. His wife and child are trembling with fear, praying that Zhang Xinjia can fix everything. After a moment, Yang Tao and his thugs burst into the room just as the helpless lady asks what their next move will be. He grabs the weapon and tells her they'll have fun with her while her husband is gone, but the poor woman fights hard and begs them to stop. We pick up the story right as these shameless thugs rip Xiaoli's clothes while her desperate son fights to shove one of them away. Just then, Li, the guy with the ponytail, popped up to ask what the racket was all about. One of the thugs invites Li to join in on some fun, but the guy with the ponytail cuts him off, reminding everyone that the job isn't done yet and they need to get back to work. The goon gets annoyed and asks why it's a problem, claiming they've done this kind of thing many times before. The ponytail guy gets mad that the big gorilla doesn't get it, so he reminds him he's messing with Zhang Xinjia's wife and kid, warning that if she tries to kill herself, Zhang Xing will have nothing left to lose and will come after them all to make sure nobody gets out alive. He offers the horny gorilla a sliver of hope by promising they'll return after handling her husband to work her until she can barely rest, and though the horny gorilla yells at him for killing the vibe, he decides to take the advice regardless. As the thugs file out, one gives her a cold, creepy glare and warns her to wait for her turn. The mother and son stood helpless, with nothing left to do but cry. As night falls, the zombies start to roam the streets. On these lonely roads, our boy drives with his mind on his big recent gains, now boasting double the strength of an average guy, thanks to his 13 stamina points and sharper reactions. He speeds through the messy streets, slipping his car around corners while the thrill of the ride pumps through his veins. With zombies everywhere, our guy decides it's time to get out of the car. The city center is just ahead, but since driving would draw too much attention, it's time to start walking. Right then, he hears the deep, shaking sound of roars getting closer. He spins around to find two zombies sprinting straight at him. Our guy isn't scared. He dodges the hit, shoulders a monster into another zombie, and knocks them both over. He grabs his sword, sprints right at them, and slices both zombies' heads off in one quick swing, proving just how strong and fast he's become. He's shocked at how easily he's beating them, certain he's now got more than twice the strength of an average guy. Now, his instincts are sharper and his hearing better, letting him know the spot he seeks is just 800 meters away. Outside the grocery store window, a horde of zombies is pounding their heads against the glass door over and over again, refusing to stop. Inside, the survivors are desperately piling heavy objects against the front gate, praying it holds long enough for them to find a way out. Brad, shaking with fear, asks his dad if they're going to die right here, but his dad tries to calm him by saying those witch boys can't get in, and even if they do, it's actually a win because Brad will finally be reunited with his mom. But the dad's words don't help much, so the kid starts screaming even louder. The officer is fuming at the father's thoughtless insult, but the dad fires back that if the officer had any brain cells, he'd be managing property by now, and suddenly the officer is so scared they might actually die there. Right when things get too hot, they hear bullets flying. As one zombie's head gets blown off right next to the door, the brat drops to the floor in shock, leaving the father totally confused about what just happened. The officer orders them to clear the heavy items so they can see who's outside, but he also warns them to keep quiet. As they slowly peek through the gate and see the zombies are gone, they carefully step outside. The kid starts yelling about a mutant. The dad quickly asks what he means, and the son explains that this is a stronger, faster version of zombie, just like in comics, novels, and games. The dad, fed up with his son's obsession with games, even during danger, snaps at him and realizes that's why his grades have always been the worst. The officer spins around to the father, yells that they should stop arguing, and demands to know how grades matter right now. Old Song pushes the group to move faster and stay sharp because a mutant might jump out, so the officer warns them again to keep looking around as they slowly walk toward the base. When they hit a fork in the trail, they come to a halt. The dad looks across the street and sees our boy standing there, busy tapping away at his system to add points and tweak his stats. Suddenly, the kid starts screaming that it's a mutant zombie. The officer, who is the only one with his head on straight, instantly saw that the guy was a survivor and not a zombie. These guys have finally caught our boy's eye, so he chuckles at the kid who thinks he's a mutant zombie and tells him to stop letting his imagination run wild. The officer relaxes with a sigh, finally seeing the person is alive. Moving carefully, he steps up to our boy and warns him that it's too risky to be out here alone, urging him to join their group so they can stick together and survive, while Zhang Xiaoyang curiously asks who they are and why only a few of them are stranded here. As the officer scans the area, mentioning that they're hunting for supplies and that many civilians are still at Ranging Garden, he stirs a memory in Zhang Xiaoyang that Junior Mansion is nearby, just a short distance away. Old Song nods and agrees, pointing out that it's right across the street. He then tells Jang to come with them.